What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's doing okay. This is Judge James over at Living for Crits. I know it's been a while and life's been busy. We haven't done our stream or our vlog or any vlog in quite some time. And, with Eli in college and Evie doing a lot of performance on stage, we've been busy. So we just haven't had time to do the channel. I know a few folks have checked in on us. Thank you so much. But I assure you we're all doing well. Actually, we've been doing a lot of gaming. Uh, so Cooper, the 12-year-old, he and I game every Monday. We play. We have called Mech Warrior Monday, and we've been every single Monday since August. We've been gaming with that. I've got multiple campaigns going, and a lot of role playing. This year alone in 2023, I just hit I think my 30th session of an RPG, and that was last night, as my RPG repertoire this year now includes, as of this month, Shadowdark. And since I really enjoy sharing whenever I find a game or a system that I fall in love with, I thought I would take some time to. I know it's all over the place. You can find ads for it. You can go to the Kickstarter's almost to $1 million. It's blowing up. So, but even though that's the case, I still want to talk about it. So the Shadowdark RPG by Arcane Library. It's written by Kelsey Dionne, and I hate to say it, never heard of the game company or what they've produced because they've done a lot of 5e stuff, and I don't really play 5e. I've played a little bit of it, as some of you know, but it just hasn't been my game. But I found out about it. I was on my Discord server just hanging out one day, and we have a section that's just called crowdfunding. So whenever someone finds a game or something they want to talk about that's in various forms of crowdfunding now. So whether it's it's for from Pinnacle and it's on Game Changer, or it's on Kickstarter, or it's on BackerKit now, someone can post it. My friend Rob put it out there, and I saw the Kickstarter page for it. I went and checked it out. I immediately downloaded. There were links to I downloaded the player's guide, the player quick start, and the GM quick start, and I gave them a read. And very quickly, I was teleported back to the early days of the early 1990s with the basic D&D red box that I had, received from my neighbor. That was back when the game was all about dungeon crawling and finding treasure and magic items and stuff like that, and riches. And I wanted to try it. I wanted to play it. So as of today, this day, I've played twice. About a week and a half ago, we played a game online with some friends, and then last night we played with Cooper and a bunch of his fellow 12 and 13-year-old friends that came over, and we had a full Dwarven Forge set up. And if you've seen our Instagram page, it's all over there, pictures of it. It was a really crazy, raucous, and loud evening last night. And at the end of that game last night, after talking to some of the parents that came to pick their kids up, we decided that Friday night is going to be Shadowdark night. So just like we have Mech Warrior Mondays for me and Cooper, on Fridays we're gonna make this a thing and have the kiddos come over and play. So we're hooked, and because we've been hooked in this game, I thought I'd share like 5 reasons, and some of them have some sub reasons, why I think maybe you should be hooked, or at least check it out. At least go check out the Kickstarter and delve into it. There's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of videos. If you type in Shadowdark RPG, you will find quite a few links for it, a few actual plays. So, but I'm just gonna give you my reasons, what I really love about the game and why I want to talk about it. So the tagline, the first thing is that the tagline, old school gaming, new school mechanics, is like right on. So character creation is really fast. Takes about 10 minutes, uses 3d6 in order, and beginning characters are fairly squishy. The death mechanics are akin to death saves from 5e, but they are not. It's still pretty easy to get knocked down below, to 0 HP, and bad things might happen to you if that occurs. But I like to think of this game as I don't know, kind of like there's like those rogue lights that are out there for video games. I think of this in that same way, that it's, you know, harkening back that aesthetic and that gameplay, but it has some new bits to it as well, that, you know, some quality of life features that the video gamers talk about, right? So it has advantage disadvantage mechanics. So for those of you that don't play 5e, it's when if you have advantage, if you roll a d20 for most everything, advantage means you roll 2d20 and pick the highest, and disadvantage means you roll 2d20 and pick the lowest. And since a lot of gamers out there play 5e, and I was in the minority for a long time, there are some people who still don't play it that don't know those mechanics, but that is like right from 5e. Wizards can cast more than one spell at first level, which I'm a big fan of because I used to love playing mages and wizards and everything. And abilities are used as saving throws. You don't have a reflex save. You aren't making a rod, staff, and wand save. You would say I'm making a dexterity save to dodge something possibly, or just make a dex check. And then I have to say that, you know, one of the reasons when I looked at Old School Essentials, which is beautiful books, the reason that didn't capture me and why it didn't draw me away to try that instead of playing more Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is my game of choice if you've never seen my channel, was because some of those old systems I really don't like. I don't like the percentile dice systems for thieves skills. I don't think it makes any sense to use percentile dice. I'm not saying folks that play those games, like, they love those old systems. I think a first level thief has like a 20% pickpockets. That sucks. And yeah, the GM could add a whole bunch of bonuses if they do it in certain situations, but I feel like making the base number so low, like, you're gonna get your hand chopped off in the market square pretty quick with a 25% pickpockets at first level. And then you know, I as a fan of wizards, that one spell as your first spell, I mean, wow, okay, you cast your one magic missile for a d4 plus 1 damage. There you go. For the rest of that adventure, you've got a staff. And okay, you have to earn it. How many campaigns really go long enough for the magic user to earn it? Not many. So I'm not a fan of that system either. And, you know, just like Dungeon Crawl Classics has I think a much improved spellcasting system where you have to roll to cast your spell, so does Shadowdark. You don't get those crazy options like a magic missile, really good spell, but you're only going to do a d4 or maybe 2d4 damage with it if you get a critical, if you roll a 20 when you're casting it. And I'm okay with that. It means that wizard is going to can cast magic missile quite a lot before they potentially lose it. If you fail the casting, you lose the spell. So those are some of the things I like those being bolted on and updated and renovated. Really, the game does feel like it's been built from the ground up. I know it borrows from other systems, but I feel like it is very fresh. Ancestry and class are split out. So there are 6 ancestries in the game: human, elf, half-orc, halfling, dwarf, and goblin. Each ancestry has a very distinct feel. Goblins can never be surprised. Elves either get a bonus to shoot, to ranged attacks or to casting spells. Dwarves get extra hit points to start and advantage on rolling hit points. Each ancestry feels very distinct. The 4 classes, which are fighter, priest, wizard, and thief, I mean, obviously those are distinct. And there are 2 classes teased out. I think they're going to be released to backers as PDFs. They're not going in the book because the book is ready to get printed at this point, so they don't want to add anything to the book right now. But I think Bard and Ranger are going to be done up as well as, you know, separate PDFs. And I think the fact that you have 6 ancestries, 4 to 6 classes, I think it's going to give a lot of distinct feel to each build. Each build is a benefit to each build. So there's no limitation about could dwarves not be wizards like used to be in the old AD&D system and D&D system. You know, a dwarf wizard has the benefit of is going to have more hit points. You want a hardier wizard? Be the dwarf. If you want a wizard that will never be surprised, that if it gets jumped by something is still going to act, be a goblin wizard, because the goblins can't be surprised. That's going to give you a unique character build. So you have 24 to 36 options for, but still with that old school feel. So last night with the kiddos, we have a dwarf fighter, we have a human priest, a human wizard, and then Cooper is playing an elf thief. And it was a really great night. And even in those classes, you have a talent system, which they're not quite feats. Like you roll, they're random. One might give you a bonus to your attributes. One talent might give you an additional spell that you know at first level. And you roll talents as you advance in the game. So I guess they kind of are like feats, but they're random feats. So that's the next thing I really enjoy. I really like how monsters are built. And when I played Dungeons and Dragons, the monsters in the old days were, back in the red box stuff, or the rule encyclopedia, very, very simple for the most part, but there's still some wiggly bits. I loved in the Dungeons and Dragons games. I loved when we get to 4th edition, and I am a 4E fan, or was a 4E fan until I sold my stuff. How each monster had something very distinct that they did. What made orcs different than hobgoblins is, orcs could bash the hell out of you and do lots of damage, but hobgoblins were very militaristic. The monsters are built that way in Shadowdark as well. So each monster has 1 or 2 things they do very, very well. It's going to change up the feel when you're facing them, but not so much that you're going to need like all kinds of notes to track the monster. It's going to make it easy for the GM. I think the monster with the longest stat block, and really it's not very big. It's like, an eighth of that page is the Aboleth. It just has it's an 8th level monster. It should be hard to fight and have all kinds of abilities. So I love the monsters in the game. I really appreciate that there is an in-game currency feature with the luck token. I know it's an optional system, but luck token, think of fleeting luck from Dungeon Crawl Classics. Think of was it Fortune from Shadow of the Demon Lord. I think luck tokens look the most like bennies from Savage Worlds, and I love bennies from Savage Worlds. And the economy you use, there's an option to even have them. You can choose to award them if something great happens, and they only can have one at any given time. Another option, because there are some optional rules for it, is every player gets a D4 of them to start, and gets one whenever something great happens in the game or fun happens in the game. It's a lot like bennies. And I think you have a system like that flowing. Like in last night's game, the players, they were able to kind of force that success. And if they missed a roll, they had that token. And they started acting in ways to generate more luck tokens. And that just brings a pulpy fun to the game. So I'm glad that was there. The next thing is, given how big D&D has become in recent years, especially players for 5th edition, bringing players back all the way to one of the old school games who've only played 5e might be a challenge, especially younger players. Like some of these kids now have played D&D, and they're used to advantage, disadvantage, multiple ancestries and classes, and you tell them, well, a halfling is a halfling. They might not get that. Since there are elements of 5e fused into Shadowdark, or at least the feel of them, it's less of a jump for the modern player. Just like Dungeon Crawl Classics is built atop of 3rd edition D&D. I mean, it is. I mean, very, very similar. This is just, kind of comes out of 5e. And I think the 6th reason of my main reasons here of why you should go check it out is your first taste is free. I mean, these are free. We're going to play with these books here for the next several weeks. I mean, this, I think, takes you up to 10th level. There are some magic items in there. The game only goes to 10th level, I believe. Maybe there'll be rules for optional stuff above that. The good thing is, it doesn't sound like we have to wait that long before we get the bigger books. The PDFs are coming like in April. And then the books themselves, if you kickstart in March, will come this summer. And the whole reason that Kelsey said that can be done is because their books are complete. They just need to know how many to order. So when the Kickstarter's done, they're going to order that many books that they need, and then you're going to get them. And there's all kinds of backer levels in the Kickstarter, so you definitely want to check that out. The final thing I'm going to leave you with is, I say as I'm looking at my Purple Planet poster in front of me, I was trying to think of just one more thing I wanted to add to the discussion here. Why would someone play this over Dungeon Crawl Classics for my viewers or listeners that are DCC fans. And I am a massive raving fan of DCC. I've GM'd well over 200 sessions of the game, 150 sessions in campaign, and yes, I do track it. And so the rest are one shots. And I've this summer I finished my 100th module being completed. So I've run 100 of their published modules from start to finish. Right now we're working on Greatest Thieves of Lankmar. We're almost done that. One more session, we'll be done with that one. Can someone enjoy Shadowdark as well as DCC? Is there a place to own both games? Like, where do they fit? I think the answer very clearly is yes. Just like you might want to play, maybe you want to go the whole way back to basic D&D for that feel. It's I don't think I'm cheating on DCC playing Shadowdark. I think Dungeon Crawl Classics will always have that place for crazy, over-the-top gonzo action that only DCC can do. That first level, wizard who is going to spell burn all of his stats away, burn off all of his luck, and create like a 10d6 magic missile to kill the big bad. That will happen in DCC. That's not going to happen probably in Shadowdark. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing, right? I mean, actually not a bad thing. It's a thing for different tastes. It's a good thing both ways. It's a good thing that it exists in DCC, because if you're playing DCC, you know what you're getting into. If you're playing Shadowdark, you're going to be trying something, gritty and dark and a bit more, you're going to have to really think through your problems and not hope that one spell or that one mighty deed or that one thief who burns all of their luck away is going to help you through a problem. But that also means the GM running the game, you really will need to give your players a bit more to work with the table. Like last night when we were running the game, I put these skeletons out there, and the skeletons, there were too many skeletons that players could deal with. There were more than they could face, but I had made the skeletons' heads glow the same colors as runes on the walls. And the players, the kids, they did a good job figuring out the runes are easier to hit. Let's take out the runes. It might take out the skeletons. Bam, they figured it out. It gave them a puzzle to work through. They couldn't just, burn a lot of their stats into their rolls. I think that's one of the things that DCC, while awesome and crazy, as my old MCC or Glowburn co-host would say, it's a feature and a bug. I still think that there is room for a game where you are not going to become epic, at least not in the early levels. Later on, you will be. But those crazy events, you're going to have to really use your thinking cap, wear your thinking cap. Would you use a thinking cap? You're going to have to be sharp, okay? Keep the polyhedral sharp, I guess. So yeah, there's definitely room to play both. I'll be playing both, and I really think you should, take the moment, go check it out. The link will be below. If you're watching us in March of 2023, there's time to back the Kickstarter. So, and I hope you consider doing so. So go light your torches, people, and I hope to see you all here online sooner rather than later. I'll be at War of the Cyclops Con. I'll be running some events at that. So if you see me on there, maybe you'll be in one of my games. All right, take care.